Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. Or I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I can
Come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, home of the Asian Oprah, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Podchaser, JioSaavn, Rumble, Tiki Live, and many, many more places, because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye talk, no Kardashian talk on the show. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests and upcoming guests like those KLOS fans. Mark from Mark and Brian's coming on. They got inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. I have my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, who's the one to blame for my Asian Oprah moniker. He introduced me to Asian Oprah as the Asian Oprah. And, drumroll please, the daughter of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Lucy Arnaz will also be coming on next week. So packed, wonderful. I'm so grateful. This is show number 822, but who's counting? I am so glad that you're here with me. And I also bring you special series. And I have to say, there's more eyeballs that roll in this particular day, every week on Thursdays, because I have a pretty good looking co-host on Thursdays. No offense, Colette and Cynthia, who are on Wednesdays and Fridays. But today it is time for Straight Talk with my co-host,
Sam Works.
That's right. And we're here today talking about a very important question and trying to answer it. Why do relationships fall apart? That's the question of the day. Please welcome back to my studio the very one and only good-looking, hunky, nice, and smart co-host Sam Works. You're going to say, all right, what do you want? I don't think I've ever given you that nice of an introduction, but you definitely deserve it. I'm so happy. Thursdays are fun days for me because you just never know what's going to happen when Sam and I start talking. So I'll let you introduce our breakfast.
Okay, so every morning we do the, what do you call it? The breakfast of the bunch, or
breakfast? Sandwich? Yeah, gratitude sandwich. We take a bite of gratitude sandwich.
Yes, and we share 8 things that we are grateful for. And then after, we take a bite of the bottom of the sandwich and we share 8 things that we appreciate about ourselves. It's a positive motivation to really, how would you describe that?
So it's a way to start your day and exercise your muscle of focus. Okay. And people think that life is about just reacting to things that happen to you instead of setting an intention, setting a focus, setting a direction for your day. So when you start your day looking at what's right about life, about people, places, and things, you are training your mind to now see things in that vein. Instead, the opposite is if you wake up and pick this up and start scrolling, most likely, oh, sorry, I'm moving my phone hi, Ricky, on, hi, Deb, on my Instagram saying hello to the live stream. If you wake up instead and pick up your phone to scroll or turn on the news or turn on the radio to the news, which is usually the olds and a weapon of mass distraction, you're most likely to be upset, angry, worried, in fear, and say, hi, Maurice, and say things like, what's wrong with the world? Like, is the world going to hell in a handbasket? All of that. So instead, Sam and I actually, this is how Sam became my co-host on Thursdays, is whenever he was doing sound engineering for me on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would make him have breakfast with me with the gratitude sandwich. And when he was doing it, I thought, you know what? He has enough cojones to sit in a studio with me and shoot the shiitake about pretty much anything. And so we picked relationships and romance and sex and all that kind of good stuff to start your Thursday mornings with. So I'm grateful that Sam is my co-host on Thursdays, talking about really things that matter and can affect your happiness in the relationship realm.
Oh, is that your first one? Is that your first?
That's my first one.
I like how you slipped that one in there. I'm grateful that we do the gratitude sandwich, because it really does help me, and it spreads love to other people. I had someone this morning ask me, like, hey, what are 5 things you're grateful for? I was like, you're gonna have to wait until 8 o'clock. That's how Dr. Vincent show.
Awesome. Yeah, she probably picked the 5 from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Before he went to the other side, he said, that's how you have a happy life, is 5 gratitudes in the morning. And people have said, I've had other guests who said, just say thank you in the morning. And it sounds so easy, but people don't do it. And then they wonder why they don't have a good day. Right. So I'm grateful that I have teachers like Dr. Wayne Dyer to carry on his legacy.
There we go. I'm grateful for everyone who supports me by giving me food. I know food's expensive out there, and I would be broke if people didn't feed me. So,
I'm grateful that I have money in my wallet and that I have the freedom to go to restaurants when I feel like having something to eat.
There you go. I'm grateful to have freedom to do what I want and please, even though I have a job. It doesn't feel like it, and after work, I'm able to do whatever I want. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, so grateful that I'm not a job just over broke, which is sometimes how people's jobs are, that I love what I get to do. I was just, almost in tears this morning, just in gratitude that I get to do this.
Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for, for my show that's been growing day by day, week by week. I know this is episode, what is this, 822?
22. Mm-hmm.
Last day was my 110 episode.
Woohoo! That's awesome. And hold on. And you can give a little commercial. When's your show?
So my show is every Sunday at 7 p.m. on KCAA, just like this. It's called Whatever Works, and I bring in a new guest every Sunday to talk about whatever works, whether it is your profession, your religion, your philosophy, or whatever you want to talk about. So it's a fun show. I really enjoy it. Last week we had a music band come on. We talked about their music and how they got together and like what their goals are and how they're achieving it. And we got 3 callers calling in. They love their music and everything. So it was very
nice.
So
awesome. My last gratitude is that hello Heidi Ho and dog photo. I love Instagram names. You have no idea who these people are because the names are not their name. But mine's Doc Balance, by the way. Have a pretty healthy Instagram entertainment for you. But I am grateful that I am down 30 pounds from my Love Myself, my project Love My Body that I started on Valentine's this year. So I'm grateful for that. I knew you were going to do that. Thank you so much. I'm almost feeling good enough to be naked. So, that's when the dating will start. Almost. Not quite, but almost. And let's see. Let's go to the bottom of the button. I appreciate. So these are things that you appreciate about yourself. That's the difference between gratitude and appreciation in my book. Gratitude is things outside of yourself. Appreciation is things inside of yourself, because if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect other people to approve of you? So that's why I appreciate my ability to have fun and not feel guilty about it. That's a huge one. Because I grew up in a culture where it's pretty much work, work, work. And if you don't have too much fun, and I get to go to see Elton John on Sunday, his final US concert. I'm just so excited. Can you tell? His 2000th concert. And it's going to be special on Sunday because it's full circle. He got his fame through Los Angeles. That was his first concert in LA. So I'm just so appreciative of my ability to have fun unapologetically.
Okay, I like that. I appreciate about myself of knowing and acknowledging that, again, I'm like, I overwork sometimes, and it's nice to, relax and take a break like I did last night. So
great. I appreciate that I am a fashionista.
a fashionista. Okay. I appreciate that I'm all about progress and adapting to change.
I appreciate that I know how to turn lemon into lemonades and brown bruised black bananas into delicious banana bread.
I like that. I appreciate that of how much I care about other people. Because if I didn't care about other people, I probably wouldn't care about myself. So
I appreciate that I love making people laugh. Laughter is my favorite sound on the planet, and I love that. My husband told me I was not funny just about every day of the 9.2 years of sentence that we were together. So I am great. I appreciate that I own my funny.
Wow.
Yeah. Last one for you.
I appreciate that I'm always trying to be on the healthy side of life, whether it's healthy physically, healthy emotionally, spiritually, emotionally. I'm all for that. So
beautiful. All right. And that is it for breakfast. Thank you for joining us, having a bite of our gratitude sandwich this morning. I know that you're going to have a great day because of that. The appreciations, just so you know, actually are done right before you go to bed. So we're just priming you so that tonight when you go to bed, instead of thinking about all the things you didn't finish, who done you wrong, all of that keeps you from sleeping, you can fall asleep with a smile on your face, regardless if you're together or alone. All right. Here we go. Why do relationships fall apart? I would love to hear your 8 cents worth if you're streaming with us on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, which houses all of the shows, and you'll get an alert there if you free subscribe. I want to know, why have your relationships fallen apart?
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go first, huh? It's funny that you say that, because last night someone shared something with me, like a post, and it was basically talking about this. And so let's say relationships, you're in love, right? Like, what is love? And in this, it was talking about how love is not an emotion, but it's an action. It's a commitment, right? And a lot of people think, because of like Hollywood and like all these storybooks and all this stuff, that when people are in love, it's happily ever after, right? But love is a commitment, whether you're mad at them or not. You know, you go through it, you go through all the emotions, and you're there to support them, and you love them unconditionally, right? Because if you love them based on conditions change. And if that changes, your relationship changes. And if you don't like how your relationship is, you're just going to move on. But if you truly love someone and you love the relationship, you're going to go through the process. And my friend always told me, he said, enjoy the process, right? Because during this process, during the struggle, during the pain of a relationship and all the problems, the pain is good because you really start to identify who you truly are, like what kind of person you are, you know? And a lot of people, they think that if relationship is not good, then just move on. Because why suffer and why not be happy with someone when you can just move on, you know? And I think a lot of people, they don't hang on long enough to really see past the struggle, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to put the moose on the table and, as usual, share my own experiences. Moose on the table is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. And when I was single, and I think it's happening now, even after marriage and divorce, that, well, I dated a lot more before, but when I meet a guy who I'm attracted to, and there's that butterfly, warm feeling below that it's just that incredible feeling that you cannot get from any other relationship. So that new, and what would happen is I would feel that for, as short as a day, as long as maybe 3 months. And then I would lose that feeling. And not only would I lose that feeling, it would almost go to the opposite, where it was just this weird switch. Like I'd go from, oh, he's such a great kisser, to, ew, his tongue feels like a piece of leather in my mouth, or liver, even worse. And it would be this weird switch. And then it was, either I would, ghost. I was not as mature, although I'm still not mature sometimes when it comes to breakups, but I would, just like that. And then, so I like, how does that happen where you feel so good and then you feel so bad? And so then I started saying that the first date is the best date because it's all downhill after that. And it's a horrible thing to say, but I know that about myself. And so I'm very careful about what I say at the beginning when I am feeling those things, because I don't know if that feeling's going to last.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
I think just not knowing that the feeling's going to last is like the start of the downhill, Like if you're not confident, or you don't trust or have faith in the process or in the relationship, I think that's when like the psychology starts to turn. It starts, the table starts to rotate and start to flip.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the power of the mind too. And this is also true for me, that and that's why I have that pregnancy model of relationships, right? The first 3 months, everything's glowy, everything's beautiful. And then the second 3 months, you see the reality of who they are. And the part that's my problem or what's not useful is I begin to focus on what I don't like. So the first 3 months, there's all this stuff that I like. The second 3 months, there still might be 9 great things about the guy, but the one thing that drives me crazy is what I focus on. And we've talked about this before. It's a psychological phenomena of Pygmalion effect. What you believe, you will see. So it's the opposite of I'll believe it when I see it. You actually see it when you believe it. So let's say we start dating, just to make this practical and a good analogy and real. So let's say we started dating, and those nice things that I said about you at the beginning of the show, right? Smart, good looking, fun, right? We had fun on the dance floor and all those things. And I would be, oh, it's so great. I can't wait. Let's go this weekend. Let's go to, so where are we going to go dance and where are we going to go eat and you're trying to impress me at the beginning. So, we do everything that I want everywhere that I say. And then second month, you're like, the bloom is over. We've already had sex. We've already, gotten comfortable with that. It's not as, it's now an expectation that we're going to go out somewhere, eat, dance, go to bed, and then the daily routine. And it's like, now, God, he doesn't text back in a timely way. He's messing with my calendar because now he's not available when I am. He used to be, way more attentive than he is now. He's not available as much. And that's all I'm focusing on, right? I don't focus on the fact that we still have a lot of fun laughing when we're eating. I'm thinking about, I'm not here. Like I'm thinking, you just told me you can't go to the concert because of blah, blah, blah. And that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about the fact that we're having fun right now. That's my habit. I own it. I'm cognizant of it. And I think it's what makes relationships fall apart is the power that we have with our minds and our focus. It's our doing and undoing of why relationships fall apart.
I started to see a pattern when you were talking about this relationship that was just going on that you're describing. And I think relationships start to fall apart when people start to become a little more selfish, right? Like in the beginning of a relationship, they're selfless. They're opening the door for you. They're giving you your time. They're being more attentive, all this stuff. And as like the time goes on, then they start becoming, more independent on their own life rather than, joining you in the relationship. And it's not you like looking at all the bad stuff. It's just you acknowledging the change within the relationship, And I think that's a huge thing of why relationships fall apart. It's from becoming selfless to selfish. And honestly, that was and still is one of my biggest problems in relationships. Like at first I give them my all, my time, my love, my heart, everything. And then as time goes on, I'm like, okay, I need to focus on myself more. Okay, I need to, achieve my goals. Okay, I need more time to do my things, And that's exactly how my last 2 relationships ended.
Yeah. So and first, hi Colt. It's my favorite red carpet dancer. He's on my Instagram. But I want to actually cut you some slack. I don't think it's about selfish. I think it's about unrealistic expectations of what a relationship is. So we grow up with Cinderella, Snow White, right? Jerry Maguire, you complete me. Okay. So there's this expectation or BS belief system that we think that once we're in a relationship, that is supposed to be the end all, right? That is the unit and everything is about that unit. And I think that's BS. I think that's a belief system that's gotten us into trouble. I think it's my BS, my belief system, that it's a third yourself, a third for your partner or insignificant other, as I like to joke, your significant other, and then the third as the unit together. Okay, now that may seem way too, some people will say, no, it's 50% the relationship, 25% yourself, 25% the other person. For me and my life and what I want to do, I can't expect that relationship to fulfill that much of me. Now, I don't think that I don't think there's anything wrong at all with saying I need to have part of my life that is not about you. Good morning, Cecilia. She's streaming in. And those people who are listening on the radio, if you are about to land somewhere, please do go to my YouTube live to begin to chat, or Facebook, or Instagram, Doc Balance, or what did I miss? LinkedIn, so that you can participate. Cecilia, I want you to answer the question, why do relationships fall apart? And she's in a very unique position to answer that, because she actually came on as a caller and got some advice from me that I hope is working about her own relationship. So I believe that expectation that your relationship fulfills every need is the problem of why relationships fall apart. One of the big reasons. Okay. Sam, your bicep is distracting me. I'm just kidding. Put it back up there. It's good. Cecilia's saying no communication and trust. So that's what makes relationships fall apart. And I think Sam would agree with you. He talks about communication all the time. I believe expectations play a lot into that. Hello, Hamza. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and participating in this entertainment, also known as education. So if you think that person is supposed to be your end all, then your relationship will fall apart, because no one can be everything to everyone. It is impossible. As Don Miguel Ruiz loves to say, and I love him, he's a friend and a past guest. He has, if you haven't read The Four Agreements and The Mastery of Love are like life textbooks to go by. But he says in The Mastery of Love, everybody is the main actor in their own play, and no one else is your supporting actor, because they have their own play. And so when you expect people to fulfill your need to belong or to complete, you're in trouble. I absolutely understand that my ability to have a good time in a relationship fundamentally stands on my ability to be able to approve and satisfy and love and care for myself. And when I'm in that good place, I can have an amazing relationship with someone else. But as soon as I get needy, as soon as I'm like, well, what do they want? What do they think? I got to make them happy. It's my job to make them happy. Then I'm in trouble. Your only job is to make yourself, and don't blame them if you're not happy. This is a law of attraction truth. And I love Esther Hicks, one of my teachers as well, who says, when you're with someone, the only question is, am I having a good time? Am I having fun? If I'm not having fun, go somewhere else, get yourself in a better place where you're having fun, and then come back. Because if your expectation is their job to make you happy, you're in trouble. And I found that so to be true. That's why I've been on this love project, Love My Body project, is I know I have to love the way I look naked. Otherwise, I'm always going to be looking to my person to say, you look nice. How does my butt look big in this dress? Or how do I look today? Right? I can't expect them to do that. I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is to love yourself first, right? Because a lot of people, they project what's happening internally, externally, right? So if you are not proud of yourself, then okay, A, what's going to make other people proud of you? And B, how are you going to be proud of other people? Like you just see yourself in a negative way. So you're projecting everything else in a negative way.
Yeah.
And if you rely on someone else to love you and that person leaves you, well, your life feels like it's ruined. It's over, you know?
That's right.
That's one thing that a lot of people do in relationships. Like they give them all their love to somebody else rather than themselves. And people walk away on that, you know, and then their lives are ruined temporarily or maybe even forever, you know, they're scarred by it. Another thing, I think, I like what Cecilia said, you know, communication and trust, but I think what holds that umbrella together is respect, right? Because if I respect you, then there's some trust aligned. If I respect you, then I will communicate with you. If I respect you, I will let you live your life in a manner as long as we're together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that's huge. So,
and that's a choice. That's a choice. Respect is a choice. It's not something that, you know, comes and goes. Well, it can come and go if you just allow it to be a condition, right? When I feel like respecting you, I'm going to respect you. If you choose to respect someone, that's a whole different ballgame. I want to say good morning to Cynthia Kahi, who is on tomorrow on Fired Up Fridays. My co-host then. You can meet my other co-host, Cynthia, and you are tuned into Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
Here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. We're on a roll. We're not going to take a break quite yet. So we're talking about why relationships fall apart. And we would love to have your 8 cents worth on what your experience has been. Sam has, I have tried to cut him some slack because I don't think it's about selfishness that what makes things fall apart. I think it's the expectations that we're supposed to be everything to that other person and vice versa. And if we have balance, now you know why I'm all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace, 3 inner peace. But I'm all about balance because it's not one extreme or the other. Because let me qualify what I just said about a third myself, a third the other person, and a third the relationship is I've gotten to the point where it was 100% me, right? And there's no room for the relationship. So if I don't balance out that it's just as much my time and then their time and the time together, then I also am out of balance. Which is that guy that I dated and said, I don't mind being priority 2 or 3, but priority 10 is not going to do it for me. So there also has to be the understanding that, or balance to have a good, your relationship will not fall apart if you decide that you want the relationship. I think that decision then will say, you know, I do want a relationship, because if I haven't made that decision, then no relationship is going to happen, or all relationships will fall apart. Because it's so easy to say, I'm out of here. And that's the thing, you know, that pendulum, our parents or your grandparents' generation, right? Stay together no matter what. Stay together for the kids no matter what. I'm making that decision till death do us part, which has always been morbid to me. Then the pendulum swung, and it's almost too easy now to leave that relationship, right? Yeah. So again, coming to that balance, when to hold, when to fold. But I think that the number one way to make a relationship not fall apart is to adjust your expectation.
You know, I have to agree with you on that. And I also think there is a missing variable in this equation. And I think one thing that really affects relationships is society.
The size?
No. Hey, honestly, that too. Sometimes.
What is that? It's not the size of the boat. It's the motion in the ocean.
No simulation. No.
Have you heard that
society.
before?
Yes.
Have you heard that before? Okay,
Yes,
good. I thought that was like dating me. Cecilia's laughing with me.
That's funny. No, society plays a huge role in relationships because a lot of times people in your sphere of influence can really change the way you think about someone, you know? And if you're with somebody and let's say your family, your friends, or whoever don't really like the person you're dating, then they're going to start to not tell you don't be with them, but start to like manipulate you to see what they see and change your views on things. There's this book that I read, and I told this last night to somebody. It's called Rain of Gold. And this guy was going to get married, and his mom was like, okay, like goodbye. And he was like, why are you saying that? You're making it sound like I'm not going to see you again. And she was like, it's when you guys are married, it's like Adam and Eve. Like you're starting a new life together. So when you guys get married, I don't want to see you for a couple of years. Like it's you and your wife, you know, because everyone else is going to influence and make decisions for you, you know. And I think that's huge. I think it's what comes along in relationships a lot. And a lot of people are very social nowadays too. And a lot of people kind of just, they follow everyone else. You know, a lot of people don't make their own decisions. A lot of people are sheep, and sometimes, you know, they lead you to the slaughterhouse. Like you may have been with the one you want, you know, maybe not forever, but for a long time. But then your sphere of influence just convinces you to walk away on it.
Yeah, there you go. There's another reason why relationships fall apart is you pay too much attention to what your peers say or think about that person. And that's kind of silly in my mind, but I'm pretty strong. And so I don't understand having someone influence you like that, but you're absolutely right. There's a lot of people who don't have their own mind and their own BS belief systems that are strong enough to say, hey, you may not like them, but I do. And that's all that's important, right?
Yeah.
And on the other hand, balancing that out, you know, talking to my daughters, and I hope they don't listen to this, they're going to be mad at me, but there was a guy, and I'm not going to say which daughter, but you know, she was dating, and this is a common thing where things were starting to unravel, things were starting to fall apart, and so she shared her angst and her concern and about what he was doing, and of course, you know, we all want to support her, and we're on her side. Right. And so we are like, oh, you deserve more than that. That shouldn't be happening. Big red flags, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? You know, she ended up going back. And at that point, it's awkward because we've already, you know, put the moose on the table, and then it's hard to unsee that. You can't unring a bell. And she, you know, the reality of relationships is you're not just having a relationship with that person, you're also having a relationship with their friends and family. That is a part of it. It's not the whole of it, but it is a part of it. So that's a common thing, I think, that happens.
Yeah. And
so what's the advice there? Don't introduce anybody.
I was just going to ask you,
yeah,
Dr. Like, what do you think? What's the solution for that? Is there an alternative? You know, should we just honestly, if you're gonna get married, you're starting a new life with somebody, then you know it's good to start a new life with that person. You know, but definitely in relationships, like there's things that you see, and then there's things that other people see that you don't. You know, and maybe it's the best to have spectators, you know, watching relationships, seeing how much this person's hurting you, or seeing how much this person's changing you. You know, my brother was dating this girl, and my brother was always upset and like frustrated day by day. And this is like one of the longest relationships he's had. And like everyone in the family and everyone around us, like they see that, they're like, Timmy, like you're changing, dude. Like, you're always upset now. You're always frustrated. Like, you're being more introverted, like he stopped hanging with his friends. He stopped making friends. And if it wasn't for, his sphere of influence, like the outsiders, to really help him acknowledge like what's going on in his relationship, even though, it's not our relationship, but we do care for our brother. Like, we do love him. So we want the best for him.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's your decision whether to stay or go. But we do play a big role in like directing people in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's also the phenomena of, if I criticize who my daughter is dating, then she'll defend them. And then if I defend them, she'll criticize them. So there's that, phenomena that happens with anything. With my kids were younger, and they would ask me advice or a question, and I would say, do you want me to tell you what you want me to tell you, or do you want me to tell you what I think I want to tell you? Because really, that's, you want people to validate what you think, right?
Right.
But if you so my answer to you, what do you do about that with your family or whoever it is that's criticizing? And this is for you, Cecilia, too. She said, I'd rather have no communication with them, and then my family would always find fault with me, but in reality, it was him. My answer to that is, you have to be solid in your own trust in yourself first. So if I have an opinion, or if I have a belief system that this person is, I'm having fun most of the time with them. Like, I really believe that they bring out the best in me. I really believe that they're great, and most of the time, but they do have some fault. And then I don't ask for an opinion from friends or family. Then if they give it to me, then it's up to me to say things like, thank you for your opinion. And I know that you're saying this because you care about me, but I know myself enough that right now, I'm having more benefits than consequences in this relationship. But thank you for your concern. Now, if you're not sure, and this is so important. I think it's so important to have feedback from people who know you well all along the way in the relationship, and ask things like, am I losing myself in this relationship? Right. And if people who love you, who know you, it's a psychological model called Johari's window. There's things that you know about yourself that other people don't know. That's hidden. There's things that you know about yourself and everybody knows about you. That's open. There's things about you that people know about you, but you don't see yourself. That's a blind spot. That's what we're getting at. And then there's things that you don't know about yourself and nobody else knows. That's the gray matter we don't use, right? That's the part of ourselves that we just don't know at all. So the most important part in relationships is that blind spot. If you really want to have a good relationship and your relationships keep falling apart, and I'm speaking to me, then it's so important for me to understand why they're falling apart. And the best people to help you with that are people that can help you with your blind spot, which is what I did when Cecilia came on, right? She was focused on what he was doing wrong, what's wrong with him. And I turned that lens to look at what she was saying about herself. So it's so important to focus first on, that self-awareness. That what do I really want? If you look at your relationship, Sam, what would be the common reason why they have fallen apart?
I get too much into my head, honestly. I've been better at communicating. That's why I always bring it up, because I'm practicing what I preach. But beforehand, it was like they didn't know why I was being more distant. They didn't know why I wasn't, you know, there as much as I was. And it was only because like I had goals in line before I met you, you know, and it's like I want to reach those goals. But right now my goal that I'm reaching is you, you know, and I'm trying to accomplish love. I'm trying to get that acceptance from you. However, I always go back to my roots of like who I am, what I want to be, and I start to turn a little bit, you know. And maybe it's because I turned away from my goals to be with you, but now I'm turning away from you to go back to my goals, you know. And I think another thing, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but
You're
like,
not wrong or right. It's useful or not useful.
all right, so this might be useful in my personal experience, but like people who have big goals in life, right?
Yeah.
They go through the journey, the destination, and it takes a long time, but they keep going, right? They stay in it, and that's the relationship, like your own goals. And I think if you're in a relationship with somebody and it's just too fast, like you're having sex the first night, you're moving in like the first week, like your relationship's gonna die faster. You know, the brightest stars die faster, sooner. You know? And I think that's what it is, because once you reach your goal, now you have a new goal. You keep going, you know. So once you have everything with somebody in a short matter of time, then you're just going to go to your next goal or your next relationship.
I'm so glad you brought that up. In a world, in the fish, there's a lot of fish in the sea. There are naturally, you got a thumbs up for that one. There's naturally, you have some people that you're going to be attracted with. So ideally, you're attracted to someone. You do this. You find out in the first 3 months the glue that you're together. You find out in the second 3 months things that pull you apart. You make a decision in the last trimester to make a decision to stay together. And then you begin to change and grow, because that's what we do as human beings. And then you naturally sometimes start to grow apart. I just watched that on The Crown the other night. So yeah, it's true. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're not supposed to be the same person at the beginning of the relationship, 5 years into the relationship, 6 years into the relationship, 7. You're supposed to change and grow. And again, the expectation that you have to stay together and there's something wrong and you failed if you grow apart is such a horrific BS belief system that you cannot have more than one chapter in your book of romance for your entire life is so damaging. And when you grow apart, the desire to look for someone to blame is so strong. And I say this all the time. What would our world be like if you had a relationship and it didn't last longer than 3 years? Instead of saying, well, they weren't the one, or, well, they were, I should have seen the red flags, or, oh, there was always something wrong with them and I can't take this anymore and they're bad and they're wrong. What if we just said, we had a great 4 years. We had a great chapter. I learned so much about love. I learned so much about me, what I love, what I've now grown into not loving as much, and what I want more of, what a great teacher he was or she was. And now that chapter, I can leave and bless them. And now I'm so excited for another chapter. What a contrast to what normally happens. What an ash hole they were. That's so bad. And I can't believe, or what the worst one I get when people come to me for coaching and say, I had my heart broken. They stomped all over it. They're a horrible person. And I ask them, and every relationship, I'm afraid because I think it's going to happen again. And I say, and when did this happen? When I was 18. And how old are you now? 48. So you let that one bad experience shape your relationships to have bad relationship for 40 years. You want to do it for another 40? No. Okay, good. Then drop that BS about people and what they do to you. Relationships are a learning ground about yourself and about relationships. That's it. I've told my kids from day one, the person you're with is either going to teach you something about relationships that's going to be valuable, or they're going to be a longer chapter.
Mhm.
You know, that's what relationships are for. Sorry, soapbox over.
You know, I kind of when you're talking about, you know, instead of like hating your last relationship or talking about like, oh, it didn't work out well, blah blah blah, like instead of like, you know, we had a good time, we enjoyed our relationship, I love the relationship, you know, and as you're saying that, I kind of like started like reminiscing on like one of my relationships, and I was like that's exactly how I feel. Like I love that relationship. It didn't end like completely, but like it didn't end poorly, you know what I mean? And like you talking just now like made me like vision myself like texting this person like, hey, you know what, I just want to say like I loved our relationship, and it was a good time, and you know, like thank you, whatever. And that's one of the few, you know?
Yeah, thank you. I accept. I think it's so important. Okay, if we were grateful for every relationship that we had, we'd have peace on earth. And I want to go back to something you said. How much time do we have? Ooh, 4 minutes. So quickly, you said, I asked you point blank why your relationship fell apart, and you said, I went in my head. And I think that is so valuable. And that's my final word on this is the power of your BS belief system, the power of your focus. If there's 10 qualities about a person and 9 of them are great, why is it that you can sabotage that relationship by focusing on the one thing? Thank you for that thumbs up. One thing that isn't working or is wrong about that person. That's on you, boo. You have to be able to take your head and go to the 9. Same thing. Even if there are 9 things wrong about that person, which usually happens when you go into that second trimester, all the 9 good things now are 9 bad things, then you still can focus on that one good thing out of the 10 and create the condition to still have a good relationship. What's your final word?
My final word is kind of what Cecilia said, and I say it all the time, is communication, you know. And honestly, no matter what, Sam has a nice deep voice. Thank you. You know, sometimes it's better to let go than to hang on, you know. But you just got to know when, because if you're always hurt, it's probably best to let go. So
yeah. My rule is: are you having fun 80% of the time? Are you the 80? If you're having a fun and happy and content and satisfied 80% of the time, stay. But watch where you're focusing first. 30. That's my prescription. If you're having trouble in your relationship for 30 consecutive days, I want you to only focus on what is good about the person you're with. At the end of the 30 days, if you are still complaining, then let them go. Not for you, because you deserve better, because it's got to be so miserable for that person, poor person, to be in a relationship where they're not appreciated. That's my second final word. We're at the end of the hour. I'm so glad you've tuned into Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Sam Works.
Tune in again tomorrow for Fired Up Fridays with Cynthia Kahi. Next Thursday with Sam Works. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever.